Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's wildfire update. Before we begin, please ensure your cameras are off and your microphones remain on mute unless you're asking a question. We'll begin with remarks from Premier Danielle Smith, then we'll hear from Mike Ellis, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services, and then Christie Tucker, Information Unit Manager with Alberta Wildfire, and then we'll take your questions. Premier, please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Before we begin with the update on Alberta's wildfire situation, I'd just like to express my deepest sympathies to the family and friends and colleagues of the Alberta wildland firefighter who lost his life on Saturday while in the line of duty. It's another tragic reminder of the incredible risks that our brave firefighters take every day to protect us. And for everyone involved in Alberta's wildfire response, thank you for your continued perseverance and the grace under pressure you demonstrate day in and day out. We are all safer thanks to your sacrifice and efforts. Earlier today, I joined Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and our Public Safety and Emergency Services Minister, Mike Ellis, along with the Mayor of Jasper in Hinton to receive an update from the command center and to speak with some of Jasper's evacuees. We had a conversation on Jasper's recovery and the need for a unified command when dealing with the national parks to ensure both governments are fully coordinated. In my conversation with Prime Minister Trudeau today, I expressed our thanks for Ottawa's continued collaboration during this crisis. I also made it clear that working together will only become more imperative as we look to recovery after the fires. In fact, we heard this reiterated many times by those in command that the integration of all three levels of government has been one of the finest examples of us working together on these kinds of incidents, and they hope that it would become the standard. Once re-entry is possible, we will need to tackle many urgent priorities to ensure the needs of residents are being met. Right now, it's estimated that upwards of 350 residential structures have been lost within the Jasper municipal boundaries. Temporary housing will be an overriding priority once residents begin to return, and it will be essential for the federal government to be as flexible as possible to keep housing sited within the town site or to be flexible on the boundaries of the town site. Given the town's reliance on tourism and its inherent challenges with hiring, I've encouraged the federal government to explore an emergency wage subsidy, as well as to suspend lease payments for a few months to help businesses avoid layoffs. This will allow businesses to reopen faster so that tourists can return as soon as possible and Jasper can start recovering economically. I've also asked for Ottawa to consider additional federal funding under the $4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund to help Jasper take on additional land planning responsibilities. Increased local control and resourcing will be crucial to speed up the redevelopment process. They were already in process on doing this, but this should be an opportunity to accelerate that local decision making. I've also indicated to the Prime Minister that owners of critical businesses have as of today, been permitted to access their businesses to begin assessing damages and necessary repairs as required by their insurance companies. We have also seen the beginning of bus tours as well for those who are most impacted, those who have lost their homes. There was one bus from Edmonton and two from Hinton today, as well as we're going to be hosting another telephone town hall for residents tomorrow evening to get any other additional pieces of critical information out to them. Owners of businesses were given access today, as I mentioned. Also, overall, I think that we had a productive conversation today, and I look forward to building on this with discussions in the near future on how we can collaborate further. And before I turn it over to Minister Ellis for a situation update, I'd just like to reiterate our government's commitment to the people of Jasper and to all Albertans impacted by these wildfires. We're here for you. We're thinking of you. We will do everything we can to support you in the days and weeks and months ahead. Thank you. And with that, I turn it over to Minister Ellis.
Well, thanks very much, Premier, and thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. Of course, I echo the words of the Premier. We continue to grieve the tragic loss of one of Alberta's firefighters on August 3rd, and condolences go out to, of course, the family and friends of that person we lost. The critical incident stress management teams remain available for those on the ground in Jasper, and Alberta Emergency Management Agency has coordinated support for impacted employees based in Rocky Mountain House and other locations. As the Premier mentioned briefly, the tours of the Jasper town site scheduled for yesterday were postponed for 24 hours and proceeded today. There were 3 tours taking place today, 1 from Edmonton and 2 from Hinton, as the Premier had indicated. We anticipate a tour from Valemount on Wednesday. After that, further trips will be planned in the coming days based on the number of registrations that we have received. And we continue to accept registrations and communicate dates, times, other details of upcoming trips directly with those who register. Jasper's residents can register for a tour online at alberta.ca/emergency or by calling the Alberta Government Contact Centre at 310-4455. That's 310-4455. A reminder that the tours are open to all Jasper residents, but priority will be given to those who lost their homes. We understand these tours are a critical component of the healing and recovery process, and we're going to make sure that all Jasper residents affected by the fires have a chance to tour the community prior to re-entry. This is contingent on conditions remaining safe enough for the tours, as safety will always be our government's first priority. In recent days, much of our province experienced hot and dry, windy weather, which increased fire activity in some areas. Thankfully, some areas experienced cooler temperatures and significant rainfall, which should give relief to firefighting efforts in those areas. An evacuation order was issued Saturday afternoon for part of Saddle Hills County due to an out-of-control wildfire burning south of Highway 49 in the Gordon Dale area. And that order was rescinded yesterday. However, an evacuation alert remains in effect for residents and visitors in the area, and they should be prepared to evacuate on short notice. Central Peace Regional Emergency Management will continue to provide updates at sattlehills.ab.ca. And on behalf of the Alberta government, I want to reaffirm that we stand ready to help communities manage any new situations that may arise, while also continuing to coordinate existing efforts right across the province. We are grateful for the continued dedication of our Alberta Wildfire team, as well as those who have traveled from near and far to help keep our community safe. There's also some good news to share. Approximately 7,000 residents of Little Red River Cree Nation are starting to return home today. Coordinators have been working with families to arrange transportation for those who need it. And the First Nation has been working to restock grocery stores and ensure other community lifelines are up and running. However, I need to caution the to all returning residents that this does not mean that the wildfire season is over or that the threat of wildfires is completely gone. Residents in any community near a wildfire of note should continue to be prepared to leave on short notice. And with Little Red River Cree Nation residents returning to their communities, the number of Albertans displaced by wildfires has dropped from 17,000 to approximately about 10,000. Just a reminder, as the Premier mentioned, that the Government Alberta is hosting a telephone town hall on Tuesday at 6 p.m. And Albertans who are evacuated can join to get updates on the wildfire situation and get answers to their questions. More information is available at alberta.ca/emergency. In conclusion, I just want to again offer my sincerest appreciation to the many first responders who are on the front lines in Jasper and other wildfires right across this province. The work that you do to protect people's homes and communities is vitally important. And everyone in Alberta is incredibly grateful for your bravery, commitment, and dedication in face of what is clear to be staggering danger that you face daily. With that, I will hand it over to Christie for an update from wildfires. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. There are currently 119 wildfires burning in the forest protection area of Alberta. Of those, 15 are out of control, 44 are being held, and 59 are under control. Since the beginning of the year, we've had 1,033 wildfires recorded, which have burned more than 600,000 hectares. That's about 200 more wildfires than average, although we have burned about the same area as the 5-year average. Cooler temperatures and rain in many parts of the province has meant that we didn't see significant growth on any wildfires overnight. Firefighters are taking advantage of conditions to build and reinforce containment lines and make progress on the ground to control those fires. We will continue to support wildfire operations in Jasper in any way that we can. 2 of the crews most deeply affected by the tragic loss of a colleague have returned home to rest, but we still have firefighters, heavy equipment, aircraft, and support staff assisting the Jasper wildfire response. Once again, I'd like to acknowledge the outpouring of condolences that we've received over the past few days. And thank you to everyone who's taken the time to honor the work of firefighters and this one young man in particular. For those communities that are returning to their homes, please remember to exercise caution and to always follow the direction of municipal leaders and emergency services. There may still be firefighters working in your area, and please stay well away from any wildfire perimeters for ours and your own safety. Thank you.
Thanks, Christie. We'll now take questions. If you do have a question, please raise your Zoom hand. Reminder, one question, one follow-up, and please state your name and media outlet before you begin. Jonathan, please go ahead.
Hi there, Jonathan Bradley, Western Standard. So my question is for Premier Smith. So you spoke about you wanting the Canadian government to set up an emergency wage subsidy for businesses affected by the Jasper wildfire. What criteria do you want to see within that emergency wage subsidy?
Well, I think the ones that are going to have the most difficult time are the ones who have to rebuild. They were hoping that they would be able to have some kind of sharing agreement with other facilities, so that those seasonal workers would be able to stay in the region. So it may have to be tailored for that. There are also, I've understood that there are some businesses whose insurance does not cover them because even though their business is disrupted, they haven't completely lost their building, and so it does not qualify for wildfire coverage. And so they'll be in a position where once they return, they won't want to have lost all of their staff. So it's a bit of a unique situation, and I think that it was just recommended when I had a town hall with several of the lodging entities, that was one of the things that they suggested. So I think that there may just be some need for the federal government to step in and provide some bridge gaps if they find that there are some holes in the insurance coverage. But I would ask that they would be flexible on that.
Okay, my follow-up pertains to funding from the Alberta government. So obviously you spoke about programs that you want the Canadian government to create to support Jasper evacuees. What programs will the Alberta government be creating to provide funding to the evacuees, not right now, but in, say, a few weeks from now when people maybe start to return home?
Well, as you know, I mean, we provide the support on evacuation centers. We provided the evacuation payments. We accelerated those. We have a lot of work to do to be able to support and find placement for the seniors in a lodge that was lost to fire. We have work to do in making sure that the schools and the hospital are able to get back up and running to be able to support the town residents. But we also understand that many of our employees have also lost homes. I believe that there are 17 AHS workers who have lost homes. Several doctors have lost homes, and we're just getting an assessment of how many teachers have lost homes. So we're going to have to make sure that our workforce is taken care of and ensure that there is some temporary lodging close to home. So that would be one part of it. We also want to work with the federal government to ensure that there is a unified approach to clearing the land of all of the toxic soil and debris, and then the site preparation in working with the insurance companies. So that can be set up to efficiently start the rebuilding of homes. So most of these incidents, when you have this kind of forest fire catastrophe that we've seen, there is the ability to use the disaster recovery program, and there is a predetermined cost sharing arrangement. What we often do is we'll assume a number of the costs up front, just because we happen to be here. It's a little more unique because it's a national park, but in the end, we would expect it to follow that similar type of model.
Thank you.
Thanks, Premier. Dennis, please go ahead.
Dennis Cofton, CBC Fort McMurray. Question for Premier Smith. Premier, did you meet any of the evacuees from Jasper who were viewing their properties today? And if you did, what are your impressions of these meetings?
We didn't meet any of the evacuees viewing their properties. What we did do is make sure that mental health workers were available and the 211 service was available, because it can be pretty emotional when somebody realizes that it's not just their property that is gone, it's all their life memories. And I think I just felt like giving families some time to process that would be the right approach to take. What we did do is we met with a couple of families who they do know that they've lost their properties. One was a couple that run the local ice cream store. It's very sad. They had a 1928 home that got burnt down in a fire a few years ago. They had just rebuilt and it got burnt down again. So they were in surprisingly good spirits, knowing that they're keen to rebuild, but that's a double tragedy they've faced in the last few years. And then there was another young couple with the mother who's on mat leave, and the father. They've got 3 kids, and they do a lot of community work and arranging for various activities around town, and they've lost their home. The business that he works at, it sounds like, is still standing, but they also were just in surprisingly good spirits. That's the thing that I've noticed, even in talking with business owners as well, is there's a real sense of let's get on with this, let's get on with rebuilding, and I think there's a lot of real hope, especially since the main infrastructure in the town is still standing. Most of the north of the town has been untouched, and so I think that with Parks Canada doing a great job of posting all of the structures that are still standing, I think that that's given people a lot of reason to believe that there's a good base to start on for rebuilding. So I think there's still a lot of pain that people are going to experience as they come to terms with how long it's going to take to do that rebuilding. We want to make it as easy as possible, which is why we continue to offer to both levels of government, that the municipal and the federal, that we would all work together to make sure that we can streamline that.
And my follow-up is for Christie and perhaps for Minister Ellis. Since I'm in Alberta's north, I'm monitoring what is this wildfire situation in these parts, and to me it looks mixed. So it doesn't appear that the fires have grown considerably in the past week or so. Yet at the same time, there was an evacuation alert and evacuation order in Saddle Hills County. So would you be able to provide kind of a broader picture of what is going on here up north, where most of the fires in the province are still burning?
Sure.
Certainly, Dennis. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
Yeah, no worries, Christie. Before we go to you, though, I know you'll provide more detail, but just remember, alerts are put out there as a precautionary measure. It's put out by the municipalities. Obviously, there's fires that are within a proximity of concern, which is why they put the alerts out there. But I'll let Christie talk about more of the details of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, I think mixed is the word you used, Dennis, and that's correct. We haven't seen significant conditions that would lead to large-scale growth in many of those fires in the north of the province, and so firefighters have been able to make good progress. Although some of the storms that we've had, we did have a few new wildfires start up in the Grand Prairie area as well that we're keeping a close eye on and working on carefully. So it has been good news over the past few days. No extreme conditions on the wildfires, but it is also good to know that we are in constant contact with municipalities. We're giving them the information they need in order to make decisions to ensure that their communities are safe, or at least prepared if they need to take action. And overall, the wildfire picture in the north is looking good at the moment. We've had a bit of rain. There are still some dry parts of the province that haven't received as much, but we're hopeful over the next few days that much of the rain that's been coming through will continue, particularly in the south and through the central parts of the province. And certainly firefighters will be able to take advantage of that and make good progress on those fires they're working on. Even if they haven't received a lot of direct rain, there is higher humidity levels in much of the province because of the rain elsewhere, and that can help to dampen down some of that fire activity. So it is a bit of a mixed story, but certainly have not seen the intense wildfire activity, particularly in the north, that we had seen previously.
Thanks, Christie. Edith, please go ahead.
Thank you, Edith Boisvert, Radio-Canada. My first question is regarding the tours. Can you expand on the tour that went to Jasper today? How many buses were went to Jasper, where they were from, how many Jasperite were on the bus tour, and when is the next one scheduled?
Mike, why don't you take that?
Yeah, we had one from Edmonton and two from Hinton. As what the Premier experienced earlier with our media availability, I don't have any current numbers for you. I can tell you approximately when we made the announcement regarding the tours, about 56 people had originally signed up. Obviously, there's more that have signed up since then. Obviously, in talking to the incident command team, it's going to be a staged approach, as previously indicated. Those who have lost their homes, they're kind of going in there first. We, of course, are having under escort. We have business owners that are going in who may have experienced some loss or damaged properties, as well as insurance adjusters. So this is all very fluid, but I can tell you that the incident command team briefed the Premier, myself, as well as the Prime Minister. It's a very well thought out, staged approach, ensuring that we start with those who have lost everything, and then as we progress, we're going to continue to allow these tours. I don't have any update as to one that is the next scheduled one, but I will tell you that it is coming very soon, and likely without presupposing, it's probably going to be happening, if not tomorrow, certainly the next couple of days.
I got a couple of notes here from my team. As of today, we have 563 people who've registered for the tour. So there, I think, is a very high level of interest, and 62 individuals were on the bus tour of the 3 different buses that went today. We had hoped to get Valemount in today, but we wanted to make sure that we had enough people registered so that it was there are enough people on the round trip. So that one has been registered until to go on Wednesday.
Thank you. And my next question will be about the fire. So can someone explain to us or give us more detail about the fire behavior, like his behavior from today? If there was any rain, how did that impact the firefighting activities?
Are you looking for information about all the wildfires, or anyone
the one
specific?
in Jasper? Sorry for.
Okay, well, that is primarily being managed by Parks Canada, so they have been reporting fairly regularly on their website. So they are really the best source for information about how that firefight is going. But I understand they are continuing to work, and they are taking advantage, as we are, of quieter fire behavior when they get that precipitation.
Maybe I can add to that, because both the Premier and I spoke to the incident command team earlier today. Obviously, it's cloudy. There is some precipitation, a little bit of rain. That's good. However, to say that it's going to put out a fire is certainly not something that they're anticipating. They do have some concerns about the forecast ahead. I think it's forecasting some clearer, drier, warmer temperatures, and of course, obviously they're going to be prepared for that. So that's kind of the situation, that situational update that we got from the incident command team.
Thanks, Minister. Hiron, please go ahead.
Hiren Mansukani with Post Media Calgary. I just have one question. Condolences to the colleagues and family of fallen firefighter. I'm wondering if Alberta Wildfire is planning to release the identity of the firefighter.
Christie, I don't know if that's for you or if that's for Mike.
Minister?
Yeah, I can answer. I answered it earlier today. Certainly, again, our condolences go out to the family. Again, speaking with the incident command team earlier today, they've indicated that they have not released the name of the individual who unfortunately has passed on. I would say in due course that is going to happen, of course, but they're also dealing with the family, and I think from my perspective and talking to the incident command team, they're respecting the wishes of the family at this time. But that's kind of where the situation is at this moment.
Thank you.
Alana, please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I wanted to ask a little bit more about the bus tour. I know that you had said, I think it was you, Minister Ellis, that there is an escort for these bus tours. I'm trying to understand, essentially, we're not on these tours, so what exactly happens? Like, how many escorts are there? Who are the escorts? Can you get off the bus and on the bus? Are you allowed to walk around? If you could just give us a better understanding of, how these are run and even how long folks are in Jasper before they have to return back from the tour.
Well, sure. I'll tell you what I know. I mean, obviously, we've already indicated that there's been 3 tours. Again, 2 from Hinton and one from Edmonton. Nobody is getting off the bus. Obviously, it's still a situation where they're trying to make the scene itself safe. As already indicated, the Premier and I have not spoken to people that that were on the tour themselves. So I don't know exactly how long the tour is. I would probably argue that it will, as long as it takes, we'll say, for folks to go in and at least visually from the bus take a look at their property. I will say some of the things that have progressed. Since probably last we spoke, 100% of the fencing is up. So from a safety perspective, that's actually a good thing. Emergency services, including police, 911, and dispatch, have also been restored. Power's been restored to the downtown, hospital, the water treatment plant. So this is ongoing work that is happening right now. I will say that we still have the issue regarding natural gas. That unfortunately can be a little bit time consuming. So that's where I was talking about it from a safety perspective. We still have ATCO that literally has to go, home to home, business to business, to check to make sure that it's safe and that regarding the natural gas. So it's still ongoing. This is still, there's still a risk. We still have to make that scene safe. But as you can see that, we are progressing. We're trying to get people to go on, get at least visualize their properties. The business owners, as we already explained, are able to, again, under escort, go in there along with insurance adjusters. So we kind of get that ball rolling so that, we can look at the recovery process while also understanding and respecting the fact that, there is still some danger out there.
Thank you for that. And maybe just clarification before my second question, but you had said earlier in your statement that people aren't allowed off the bus, but business owners are allowed off the bus. Is it just different? Like if you're looking at your home, you're not allowed?
The business owners are not part of the call it the scheduled tour. They will be escorted in. It really is becoming an assessment of their business along with their insurance adjuster, and it really is. From my understanding from the incident command team, it's more of a in, kind of visualize it, and out. So no people are to put ease to your question here. People are not wandering around the city or city or town and walking around.
No, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure I understood it. And then just one thing, and I understand that AEMA is running these tours, so maybe Joe might be able to answer this, but in terms of escorts, how many are coming on these buses? Is it like firefighters are coming in just in case there's, God forbid, a flare up of something? Or is it more safety in terms of just not walking near debris areas or stuff like that? I don't know if you can provide any sort of information on that. Thank you.
Joe can provide an update on that for sure.
Thank you, Minister. Yeah, when it comes to the bus tours, so part of the earlier question, we do have a few folks on a bus to support from a mental health and crisis support piece. And as they progress through the town, the plan is to allow a good time and be flexible to the needs of those that are on the bus as they move through the town. And when it comes to escort, we are having law enforcement support and follow the bus in. And of course, we have that connection into incident command for the safety of everyone, that at any point, if it's deemed that they need to exit the town site and the park quickly, that it's done so, and all those checkpoints are in place. So that's, I hope that gives you a sense of what it looks like.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Joe. That looks like all the questions we have today, so we'll wrap it up. But just a reminder to everyone that the daily media update will be sent out this afternoon. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.